Hey guys, welcome back to the Dion Gaming channel. Today we're going to cover the story of Random Dungeon and heals that no one knew. Now, I'm pretty sure that you guys who has played various of games a long time ago, such as if you were to play Path of Exile, it would not be the same as Path of Exile of the old time. Hell, if you play Path of Exile and they keep changing it every month or so, it won't be the same Path of Exile that it was 1 month ago. The same goes for the Random Dungeon. It was actually quite different mentality in the Random Dungeon between March 20 all the way to April 9. There was a lot of harassment on certain aspects, and if you actually challenged them during this, you would get ridiculed and laughed at. So today we're going to cover the story of Random Dungeon and heals, nature heals, that you never knew. First, let's open up the Random Dungeon. This was actually one of the first videos. During this time, I had another account. It was called Final Dion. Now I retrieved my account again since I deleted it, and it's called Dion Sander. During this time, and let's actually increase it, there was a guy testing the solo aspect in the testing server for Random Dungeon. Note that the Random Dungeons in the server do not, the server testing server, they don't give you the gear, but you do start at 400 out of 400, so this player is 400 out of 400. During this time, he was actually battling this. We do see some of his gear is actually yellow, which means that he either died or have taken heavy damage. So again, he was actually able to solo it at 400 out of 400 with a specific gear in T8. This would technically not happen nowadays because T8, T7, and T8 were one of the most dive dungeon in the game. And trust me, I should know, which you'll hear about it in a few minutes. Again, the players went and show everybody the amount of fame that you used to get. And you can pause it too, by the way, when he actually kills them. You can pause it real quickly. Let's actually see that. Actually finish this guy pretty soon, right? Quite a bit though, but I mean, he is soloing in the T8 dungeon. And he's using the heal axe as well. There it is. Finish him off. He gains 66,000. So everybody who was doing the Random Dungeons have seen this type of video of him soloing some mobs and seeing how much fame he will get when he finished them off, such as this one right here, 17,000. Again, we have another video right here which we will go after. This one was a video of one of the person from Squad, Robin Hood, who actually was teaching the player about the mechanics of the Random Dungeon in the tested server. During this time, they had they were doing 8.3 on tier 8 gear, and as you can see, no joke, they do hurt. But again, you can see the fame, and everybody in the game, in the forum and in the Reddit, were able to see how much fame you were able to get in only T8 dungeon. Again, I think this is ×2, so we are going to fast forward some of the parts in here. If possible, I probably might put it in the description below. Again, say look, 8,958. They're going to hopefully AoE the living shit out of this one. Yep, Raining Arrow and such. Blazing Staff. We have 1,852 for the smallest skeleton, which usually gives like 400 to 600 to 700. So obviously they're showing this that the best fame is obviously 8.3 on the Random Dungeon, and that you're supposed to be really geared. Of course, if you actually see this thing, the problem with these are that the T8 and the T7 during the time of March 20 all the way to April 9 were very heavily dived. You may see some of them actually dying in these type of dungeons, and at the same time you may see sometimes Scout being out there, the people hearing about Scout and stuff like that, but they still will die, or I mean they had to finish the dungeon or run away. That's one of the two of the things that they had to do. But there was heavily dived in the T8 and in the T7 zone. A little thing is that when I joined a guild for the first time in a long time, we got dived about 3 to 4 times, and I lost 12 mil because I was wearing 7.2 in a 7 tier place. Note that during that time, some of the bosses were so hard, and actually going to go cover. I'm gonna cover that in a minute when I get to that point. It was so hard that the nature heal was actually worthless, to the point that players will only use holy heal, and we'll cover that when we get to that section, which will be way later on. Again, as you see, everyone can see how awesome it is to do random dungeon in T8. So the mentality stick to the mind to all the top players, and all the top players will share that to all the lower players through videos and such, that T8, T7 is the best way to go. But if you're not doing those, if you're doing T5 and T6, you will be ridiculed during those days. Just like I was, and just like Darth Maggot was, when he asked if anybody want to do T5 or T6. Big time. Again, we are actually going to pause this right here, and we're going to step in some of the dungeons that we actually did. During that time, I will tell you the story of me actually entering the guild. When I entered the guild, I died a lot of time in there, and I actually, it wasn't that great. T7 and being dived and losing 12 mil after you made 18 mil silver in order to do random dungeons, and you lose 12 mil, you get really disappointed about it, and you feel like kind of quitting the game, because now you know the T7 is always farmed, and you either have to go with the best of the guild, or you have to go in humongous large number, such as 10, 12, 13 player to do T7 and T8. Of course, that has changed during the time the players got maximized spec, like 400 spec, and better scouting. Of course, these are the present time that we live in today. But back then, they went in heavily number, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, and such to actually counter those who dived them. Now, when I went there and I lost my money, and I had bad heals during that time. Understand that when I came back, I used a bunch of Insight Tome to get me to like at least to be able to use T8, but it didn't quite matter because I couldn't do T8. I get dived and I couldn't do T7 and I die, and I lose all my money anyway. So during that time, I saw someone by the name of Iron, I-R-O-N-M. I asked him if he wanted to do a duo, but before I asked him and before the guild, there was one person that I was able to actually do some random dungeon as duo. And this person, and let me see if I can actually find him. His name is Flare. Flare was my first duo player, which as you see on the right side, I was earning money, and I was earning, and was earning so much stuff. And we would go back when we get close to like 95%, we'd go back with all of this. This is my side. I'm sure I didn't get to look at his side, but I'm sure his side is as good. So it was just me and Flare doing it. It was slow during that time because we had lower spec, but as time grew, he went to his own side, and now I needed to do the same thing. I needed to find a duo partner. That is where I found Iron. Iron was in the Bacons, and basically during that time, he would literally go face flat forward as a DPS melee, trying to aggro everything, and he's not a tank. When I saw that kind of fucking recklessness, I say this was the person that I needed to do duo. When that happened, we did start a duo. In the beginning, we started slow, but we noticed that we were earning a lot of equipments. And even though it was a slow run, our fame was actually much higher. In fact, to the point that we actually challenged some of the players doing T8. In our section, for example, we're gonna look over here to maybe one of the pictures. I think this is not the area. I just need one of the pictures that we started, and there it is. During this time, it's a little bit ahead of the future, but during this time we had Iron. Oh, I think this is the time he left actually. Let me see if I can actually find a picture during the time he was actually alive with the guild. Nope. I don't think I actually have one. No, I think I do. It is somewhere around here somewhere. Let me see. Should I actually put that aside? See this one? No, he also left at this time because we didn't need the guild. In fact, I later on I went ahead and left the guild myself. Okay, so I may not have a picture of him, sadly, but let's go back to this one. Okay. During this time, the people who do T8 were Sir Nicklet. Wilsock started doing T8, but only after he left our core run, which I invented during the March 25 or 26 or 7, 28. Around there, I invented it, and basically that's when I did my core run. During this time, we also had ZMAC as my core run. Medellin was not. He was also one of the T7 to T8. Mr. Turtle was T7 to T7 to T8, and Sir Nicholas, one of the hardcore player for farming, was also T8. I was defeating these players, and I took this screenshot because I was showing them, listen, I know that you guys are looking at the big top guild and what they're telling you, but understand, we lost a lot in T7 and we're getting contested. And at the same time, when we tried to do T8 for the one time only, we definitely got dived. We don't need this kind of like stress, and we don't need this kind of like interruption in a run. Why don't you actually run T5 and split it between 3 to 4 group? So for the group for T5 would be 3 to 4. For T6, which was medium and hardly ever ganked, hardly, but it does have some surprises, it was actually between 4 to 5. Maximum was 4 for us, and the same thing went for the T5. We did 3 to 4. So I showed them proof and said, hey, listen, during the right side, hey, listen, I literally just joined. This guild has been here for a month during the time that these Rented Dungeons came up. I mean, seriously, I obliterated you guys in the overall fame, and you guys are doing T8. Look, sir, Will Suck for Cash was doing so much T5 with me that he was under me. Then after he left and started to T8, he went all the way down and was no way to catch up to us. C-Mac was also with me, and look, Sir Nicholas was only doing 10 mil a week, while I was doing a lot more. So just as a proof, right here on the bottom, top right side, here is one of the numbers that I did for one of the week. And the reason I got this is because I left the Guilds of Bacon. So during the Guilds of Bacon, when I left, I showed my friend, says, look, I did 50 mil in one time, but I have a picture of it, but I also did 17.6 mil. Iron was a bit higher as well, because he went to, with other player when I was offline. So during that time, we tried to share the secret with other players. We told them that, hey, T5 and T6 is just as good as T8 and T7 during these time. And the reason that is because we hardly get contested. The only time I got dive, there was only one time, and after that we never got dive from March 25 all the way to April 9. The only time we got dive was when one of the guys with a bowcaster was running around, and basically we killed them. Me and Iron killed them. But in a group, we never got dive. It was always freaking empty. And the reason it was empty is because the top guilds was always sharing to everybody in the world of Albion that T6, T5 is irrelevant. You don't need this. You need T7 or T8. Anything below that, you will get ridiculed and you will be laughed at. So then came out Darth Megas making a video. During this time, I didn't make a video. I wasn't a content creator for Albion at those time. I quit 2017, and then when I came back, I didn't want to make any more video. I started, but I didn't want to make more video. And when I started late. So let's actually go to. We actually take these two out. That's where we were. I think it's this one. Yes, it is. Then this video came out. Magus wanted to show to the guild. During that time, he was at the Money Guild. He wanted to show what we showed Magus. We showed Magus, or aka Captain Russia, that T5 and T6 was very, very profitable and had great, good fame to boot. 17 mil a week is not bad. Yes, T8, if it is uninterrupted on dive, will wreck our fame. But no, your guys are getting interrupted, and thus our fame was actually better than the T8 and T7. So again, he made this video, and I'm going to put it at times 2 speed. During this video, as you see the title, it has been rumored that the best fame can only be achieved in T8 and T7. By rumor means that it is false, because there has to, if it is fact, then it will be actually shown. All the guilds, Money Guild squads, everybody else of the top guilds was always sharing that T7 and T8, it was only the best. So, and that Nature Heal are underperforming in all random dungeons. Yes, they were, until I started getting really deep in mastering the nature by mathematics, by calculation, cooldowns and how to perfect the healing in in druids, so that way your cooldown is always up and necessary to keep your tanks up. So after that, it was shown here. Let's challenge the status quo, shall we? Now, by the way, here's I do want to put this ahead of time. I want to show you. They're in March 9. Okay, March 9. Same here. Waiting for random dungeons. I have pushed fast when I get into hardcore expedition. However, I can only do 1 to 5 map, as I get hated for doing 6 as a nature. And the reason that is because Holy is the heal king of all times, while nature is the most stressful shit in the world you're going to be doing until you level up a little bit higher spec or learned how to become a good druid nature. Now during this time, Holy had a holy beam for 10 seconds. After showing the devs that Holy was so overpowered in random dungeons and nature was so underpowered in random dungeons, they nerfed the Holy from 10 seconds to 60 seconds, and they gave us Rivet, which was one of the fucking horrible spells to use at a high level, but one of the okay spells to use at beginning level, T4, T5, until you get your Protect of Nature. So again, the rule of hardcore expedition is get holy. If you're not holy, you get kicked. So I was, what will you call it? Persecution? That's the word? I was persecuted as a nature. All nature were persecuted. I made a mistake going nature. I hear people to stick with it until they rebalance it. Doubt it would be anytime soon. It took a while. You know, it was never balanced for a long time, and then finally, I guess after like a couple months, when I said this, they balanced it at March something. And I can't find the forum, by the way, but I showed them that a holy spec at low, a holy spec with just 50 spec into it versus a nature at 200 spec or higher, 300 spec, was not being close to healing as a holy healer. The holy healer all they had to do is the holy beam, go grab a coffee or a clear splash pineapple orange juice, and then heal and come back, and then press Q, press E, and then again holy. That's how it was. So it was what I almost quit Greater Nate Druid, and I told him, like, over here, wow, does the beam goes for 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and 700 with Druid chests. And I was explaining to them how overpowered, and I almost quit Druid and left to Holy. However, I persevere and try to make it the best I can, because if I do, then maybe I can show players that there's still a possible chance for the healer. But again, we have to skip that because we're talking about the random dungeons, and actually sidetracked it. I should have been talking about that since the healer is the heal. But anyway, featuring the nature healer because it was hated. Only you had to go with a holy and not a nature, and all melee DPS too. Here's another thing: in random dungeons, melee DPS were also hated. What you want is range DPS, because the tank will go in, aggro everything, and he will be the only one dealing damage. A Q, a holy beam, a divine shield from the divine staff, GG to go. While the range from the back will AoE in safety, giving the holy healer a better time. Safety with a nature healer, but again, like I said, not many players wanted to play the nature during that time. So Magus made this to show players that no, T5 and T6 can still be the best dungeon. And during that time, was also showing that nature has the possibility to do the dungeon. Again, I'm actually going to be posting this on this below, because I know you probably want to see it. So I want to skip some of these and get to right to the one of the bosses, which was almost close to impossible to do with a healer. Now again, during this time, Iron was using soldier armor instead of guardian armor. It would have been much easier, but during this time, I literally just reached 400 spec on my heals. So again, Magus insurance with DPS, and look, something about the Archfiend I would say after we finish the fight. Look at it very quickly. He is down here, yet he hit C-Mac from far away. And I'll show you something that was changed, nerfed, for both the Archfiend and the Mind Boss. Let's just go really quickly to the fight. During this time, I had to communicate with my tank to use all his defensive at the right time. I would tell him, hey, you need to use it now because I'm on cooldown, or you need to use it this and this and this. Again, he was getting hit by the stunts. One of the worst thing that can happen. He used block, tried to run away. I give him a good heal. I try to always heal him with the Protector Nature and Spiritual Seed, and then again Protector Nature and Sacrifice. Again, he ran too far away. Holy Healer has a bigger range to heal. Me as a Nature have to be close to the tank. He gets wiped, and basically during that time I heal the next person, which would have been what's his name, Darth Magus. But I forgot there was C-Mac who got hit. But again, I started healing Darth Magus just in case something were to happen. We finished the run, we finished it. However, this boss would have been much easier if you had either a normal heal, a Divine Staff, or a holy heal. When I was at 7.2, I showed this to the dev that a healer. Oh, there it was. Now I know that I was where I was forgetting. It was somewhere around here. Was it this guy? No. I think it was. There it is. This is what I want to show you. Not the fucking whole thing. I just want to show you. Quickly agreed. There is no reason that a 7.2 Druid Staff with 50 spec should heal less than 100. Oh wait, was it this one? Well, there it's kind of that one. I think I might have deleted it. Basically, a holy heal was out healing a druid at high spec versus a holy heal who was just holy heal was out healing a druid spec that was at least close to 300, and the druid couldn't do anything about it, and the holy heal was at least 50 spec at a tier 6 versus a 7.1 and a 7.2. So that's where the nerf came from this specific threat. Again, we did this and we show players over and over that yes, it is possible for healers to be able to heal, and nature specifically healer, and it is possible to earn great amount of fame doing T6 and T5 depending on the party. During this time, as you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we can do it with 4 players. And many players started asking questions about the nature for the first time, started asking questions about the heals of nature, because it was very impressive that nature can do like really good during this time. So from that time it started breaking down the notion that only T8 and T7 was profitable in fame and in silver was being broke down little by little until everybody started slowing, like the release of free to play, everybody started slowing noticing that yeah, it is true. The only problem about doing this guide that we had and we were scared of is that we wanted to prove the top guilds, the best of the best, that no, you're wrong. T5 and T6 is profitable in fame and silver. But the problem with doing that was, if everybody started doing T5 and T6, we will have a lot of dive during the dungeon. It was quite a hard decision, and before this video was posted, I had to talk to Magus and be like, give it a couple days and we'll figure it out if we should be posting this or not, because if it does post it, we might have now a contested random dungeon between T5 and T6. However, for the sake of the community and for the sake of shutting up the biggest player, we decided to go ahead and release it and show it to the world. Let's go into the next thing, and I have some pictures over here. Okay, the duo dungeons that I did with Iron. We were so good at doing dual dungeons that, again, we did the Mind Boss before it got nerfed. Oh, I gotta talk about the Archfiend. The Mind Boss, before it got nerfed, I was watching Wellen, one of the best editing for Rust. I was watching Wellen, and I don't play Rust, by the way. I think it's very stressful. By looking at what they're doing, I think it will be very stressful, so I don't play it. Wellen, good editor, I started watching his video while doing the Mind Boss. The way we actually did it during this time is that Iron had Soldier Helm to explode the bombs, and during the time that he needed to explode the bomb, we coordinated with my biggest heal to push him back up. I will be around this side, jumping back and forward like this. So for example, if I'm here, I will jump back and forward, like back and forward until the boss runs out of out of health and dies. So during this time I was here, but at one point I had to heal Iron because he was too far, rushed in, and then he put one over here. But as you see, it's not all over the place because I managed the sticky bomb. So this boss was very extremely hard. People were crying all over left and right. It is too hard. Archfiend was too hard. Nerf it, and they did. They didn't need to because we did it, but they did. And during the Archfiend, I didn't have a video. You can duo Archfiend with a nature. It was impossible. I tried in every way, and we tried in various specs, even using guarded chest. However, when we switched to Life Touch, we were able to duo the Archfiend like nothing, and I had to celebrate and told Magus during Discord, hey, it is possible to do it with just Life Touch. We did it like nothing. So let's actually go into the Archfiend on Nerf. Archfiend, when you fight him, he's always behind you. For some reason, the animation does not show it in the screen, or there's something wrong, but his hitbox and to hit you, and the speed is incredible. If you try to run away, for example, I think you saw it in the vid. Did I close it? Please tell me I didn't close it. Which I'm going to show you a different vid in the future. So keep in mind on this, please. Please keep in mind. During the time that we did the boss, which was around there. Right? Okay. Look how fast he actually is. Check it out. Keeping a close eye. Pushing it up so you guys can see it. Look how fast he is. And he hits him from far away. And basically, if you die, then everyone will get close to dying because he goes boom, 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 3 shots or 2 shots, boom, 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 3 times or 2 shots. They nerfed him. Now he does a mechanic where he pulls change, and you only need leather at 200 spec to actually do this boss, which we'll be showing in the future. Well, I can actually show it now. Should I show it now? I should show it now. I'll show it now. Check this out. This is one of the video for doing the boss with no tanking. Again, he's not fast. And this is leather at 200 spec. It's not a tank. And my boy was doing this like nothing. Obviously, this is a new mechanic, so you guys can see it. This was the new mechanic they added in. Oh, and they haven't fixed the little fake skill that is the same one as you find Outworld, in the outside world. So watch as he pulls me. That's a new mechanic that wasn't there before. So they nerfed his damage, they nerfed one of his other ability, and they gave him this stupid ability that really doesn't do shit, to be honest with you. In fact, we actually know how to break the boss if you want to break it. Using Fiend Robe, you can push the boss all the way to like the end, to the top right side up here, and the boss has to catch you. But because the boss is too busy pulling me with chained, he doesn't hit the tank, meaning the tank can go all the way down there and heal. Or I can run to the tank real quickly, get my cooldowns and heal. Again, we did this. Look, what a damn nerfed on this. Are you serious? So let's jump out of that for a bit and go back to where we were talking. The duos. When we did all the boss and did duos, this was hard. We did it like nothing. This was not possible to do with 2 players. Guess what? Dead. We did it. We used Thorn, and he used his axe, and that's it. Something that should have taken a long time to kill the boss with the heals and even using Thorn, because I'm now healing less. Understand that I told players that you have to use Protective Nature with Spiritual Seed or Protective Nature with Sacrifice to be a good healer. I still was able to heal him good enough to be able to kill the boss, and without Energy Potion, as you see down here. We use Coordinate with the poison, which I will make another video, something that some people don't know about the poison, which again I was sharing it to the whole world because it was actually awesome. Again, we pushed a little further, and this is the real dungeon. We started doing dungeons over here. We called my boy Kaiten, who back then was actually no good. back then these Katen and Turutu was players who were like fresh, and they didn't get invited in Bacons and much, and they weren't doing very good during the dungeon. However, my friend Medellin during the Bacon, which was a great player, Medellin. This player actually started fighting sometimes Katen, and Katen would join our core run to increase the number. The reason we invited Katen and Turutu, not only they became really great players for our core run, but at the same time, we lost Will Suck for Cash and we lost C-Mac. Both of them were doing many different things, and we had Katen and Turutu as a replacement. So during this time, we did 3-man. We did it like nothing. Again, during this time, you can see we called upon Will Cash versus Turtle, Kenzo. We called upon other people in our guild to try some other run. This was actually first, and when we noticed that, hey, we can actually 3-man this, then we did. We 3-man it. However, there was actually something we learned real quickly about that, that there's a cheat way to actually beat the boss, but I cannot, according to some other players, I am not allowed to reveal it, which I didn't get the chance to use it during this run. Instead, we used a higher specs and higher tier gear. I can see it here. I told him that I'll get this staff, T8, and we'll do it the boss, and we did it like nothing. Again, 2-man, I was at 28 mil, and remember I did lost 12 mil, so from 18 mil went down to 6 mil, and when I went back up to 20 mil, and look, beautiful loots. Then we started duoing this boss right here, we call it Big Mama. And then we did some trios with Jericho during that time. He actually stayed for a while. I think he quit at the end, but we did it with Jericho. He was also the Bacon. Iron also was in the Bacon, but he left, and I left at the end because I'm not gonna go the reasons. There was no reason to stay. That's it. Again, here's the pictures for that. We did 3-men. We did the tier 7. We did it for 3-men. However, during this time, we saw a lot of people. There was a surge almost behind us when we finished this boss, and we got a lot of great loot, but we never came back. We were right. There was no reason to go to C78. There was too much surge and too dangerous. Where we started spreading the players that T5 and T6 was better, safe zone, and much better than T8 into infaming. We actually found this boss, called upon Iron's guild and some Bacons. During this time we had Katen. He came back. I told Katen, it's like, we have a T8 Morgana. You want to come? He was like, yeah, I'm running. I'm getting into the house right now. And then we have Weekends, Iron's friend, and Turuto, which is on our core run. Turuto and Katen is on our core run. We freaked this boss off like nothing. Again, Druid healer. Then we call upon players in here because we didn't know the mechanic, and the other players that he called didn't also know the mechanic. And then after looking at the video, thanks to FX Yuna, I want to give thanks to FX Yuna for making the first vid of finding the Reaper. After looking at the video, I found out that, holy crap, this could be 2 or 3 men. All you need to do as the boss gets to half health, the second bar of the HP gets half of that, he's about to do his AoE. I can just hot up the tank, run away. He summons the AoE, and only one ad gets summoned. You can duo or 3 men, and we never got the chance after learning that we could. Very pissed off moment, but that's okay. And this is the one from the video. Now, I think I showed you all of that, so this can actually be deleted, so I can not get confused. This is going to be something for the healer, which we'll go after for a sample, and then we'll be taking this out. Again, present time with Daddy Dinkus, you may have seen the video. We did 2 men, and we went to get some money at the skip run, and basically we just screwed the living boss and stuff like that. We got some okay loot from that. And then from here, we're going to go with the money and the story. Again, we'll continue the story about the random dungeon. I showed through effort, and by the way, this is not the same as the present time. Understand that if you look for all these items, it has been nerfed. You want to know why it has been nerfed? 2 reasons. Sorry, excuse me. 1, the amount of players that came in and started doing random dungeons, and not just in T5, T6, because this now has been shared that T5 and T6 is still profitable, but those who want to do T6, T7, T8 can still do them. But again, it has been shown, and on Reddit, it was rumored. Again, it was a rumor. I'm a rumor. So the rumor of the T7, T8 being the best dungeon. Now there was another rumor that you can do T6 and has the best fame in the game for just 4 people. That's another rumor that came into the Reddit, which was Darth Magus, Captain Russia, posted his video, and that, as you saw, it has 3,000 views. It started spreading all over that, yes, this is true and this is possible. So again, that rumor of a rumor, but our rumor was actually correct. Again, during this time, you might see this for 100,000, boom, 1 million back then. But we were showing the biggest top guild. This is only T5, by the way, only T5. I was showing them, look, we did this, we got this, we got this. Look at that money. Slow it down. Look at the loot that I got from here. Look how much I'm selling it. Look at the pictures down here: 420,000, 299,000, 135,000, 190,000, 2.8 mil because I got an exceptional master dungeon map, into which you'll see soon in a different picture. We did 720,000 in the 1 mil that I sold for the Elder Druid, and during this time, we actually lowered up the little price because I wanted to sell it instantly so I can buy some more stuff. Because I wanted, even though I had 18 mil, I was going to start investing in gold because I already knew that it was going to increase to 2,300 to 2,500 in the future. So again, as you look down, look at this Master Relic at 252,000 just for 64, and that 64 came from 1 dungeon. This right here, what you're watching right now, this is actually 1 dungeon. We got this, we got this, we got this, and look at the beautiful loot on the left side. This is all delicious. Anyway, during that time, we got some good T8 LD Burning Orb that I sold for 680,000. And then let's go into the picture over down here. Let's start with this one. Start right here. During this time, again, we were doing the random dungeon. Again, Magus during this time didn't join too much. When he came back, and we found out that he came back just as I came back to playing, we started inviting Magus to join a rundun, and that's when we started showing the profit for everybody. I got this, and I got how much was it? 2.8 mil? I think I got 2.8 mil, right? 2.8 mil for this one. I don't know. I think it's either between 1 or 2 mil or something like that. Either way, we got good cash. We had Jericho, we had Aaron, we had Kaiten, and we have me, 4 men. And then we jumped, and during this time, again, I was showing fighting against my guild during that time. Hey, listen, T8 is nothing. We can do T5 and beat your T8. Because obviously during this time, the Bacons were doing T7, T8, but they were also getting dived so many times. So even one time when they asked one of my friends if they wanted to join, I told them that, hey, you're gonna get dived, you're gonna die. They went there, they got dived to die, and he came back. Sir Nicklin was one of the guys who were doing T8, and as you see, 6.5 versus my 10 mil. I was earning way more than them. Kaiten started new when we invited him, he was at 5. Madeline was also one of them of the T8, but I think the player didn't play as much. However, this is a really good player. I don't know what happened to him or her, but this was a very, very kind and good player. Jericho joined us, and again, Bacon was also at the T8, but he didn't do as much in the random dungeon. Let's move to the second picture. I was showing players, I'm at 49 mil, and you're about to see what happens when I was getting so many money. I'm gonna show you later, but look, 1.2 mil for the Elder Druid that I got for 8.2, and I was actually earning that in T5 zone. At one point, we went to the T6, but that's with Darth Magus. Every time Darth Magus comes, we go to T6 because Magus wanted to do T6. But every time Darth Magus is not coming, we do T5. So we only did like maybe 6 or 7 T6, and everything else was hundreds of. I mean, I'm talking about 700 and plus of T5 dungeon runs. So look at the bottom. We put the prizes right here. I was earning so much money. Again, there's the Elder Druid and Elder Scroll, Infernal Scroll, and you can see some of the other gears that I got from there. We look at during this time that I was doing just poorly, and that these pictures are out of order, so I apologize for that. During this time, there was I was poor because I lost so much. Look, 4.1 mil, but I still have 27,000 gold. But I was doing poorly in the beginning, and then later on, as I came back, look, 8.1, and it was not mine. Now, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about my run. Iron is the most luckiest person in this world. he was getting loot after loot. If I ever earned 60 mil, he at least had 80 mil. But he was actually auto-respecting, which later I learned about the auto-respect and how awesome it was. But it was actually taking so much money out of me. Again, we go for the next picture. 35 of these for 569,000. 35 of these? Oh, Random Dungeon. And by the way, during this time, Hellgate was getting buffed once and then later buffed twice. Can you blame me? Can you blame me not going to Hellgate after getting so much experience of Random Dungeon? I mean, Hellgate is the best now, but can you blame me? Hell, fuck no, you can't. Whoever says yes, shut up. Look at this, Master Preserve Animal Fur. It was selling for instant for that. I was like, no. I sold it for 380,000, and then some Insight Tome because I didn't need it. I was using auto respec. Screw that. I'll sell my 10 that I got in my Random Dungeon runs for 364,000. Again, at Depth Preserve at T4, 249,000. I sold it, I think, for 220,000. And then Esper Keeper Cape that I got in there, 227,000. Let's move to the next picture. My boy, again, who was getting all the awesome loot. Like, I mean, I'm talking about he will get better loot than I am. Iron actually got the Elder Demonic Arrow and 725,000 in T5 zone. Oh, there's no way I was gonna do it at T78. Again, you know how much this costs. You saw the first picture when I showed you the picture of all my money. You know how much this costs. Look, it's 7.1. That for 300,000. 5.2. So many gears. A Swift Claw. Oh my gosh, we were just making money after money, and we were showing these to the players, to the top players. We were showing this to some of the Reddit. But by the way, I did delete my Reddit account of Final Dion, so you probably won't be able to find that since everything is deleted. We were showing that in forum, that this is the best way to actually gain some money. Before, by the way, before I started doing my skip Random Dungeon run, which, by the way, during the time that we did it, we wanted the fame more than the money of the skip Random Dungeon. We wanted to reach 400 or 400 as fast as we can. During that time, before maintenance, we would do skip Random Dungeon run 1 hour before the maintenance. So no one actually knew about it, and no, I did not want to share it during that time, because then everybody was gonna freaking do it. Now that I quit, I started sharing it. So 33,000 gold, 8.8 mil at 1,700 for 1 gold. That's when I bought it. Look at this beautiful cultist, tier 7. Look how much it was selling instantly. Oh, so much money. Again, Master Alluring Amulet. Oh. And here's what happened. I was earning so much money during the time that I was 25 mil. So much money that I started gearing up anybody who was willing to join my Random Dungeon. One rule. You are not allowed to use that type of gears outside of my Random Dungeon. If you do, you're kicked, because I gave that to you for free, and it only belongs to my Random Dungeon core run. So at one point, it was C-Max that I gave him. I don't think I needed to hide this. You already know who these guys is. C-Max was actually a bowcaster, but at that time back then, I didn't want to show it who I gave it to. So I gave him a bowcaster. Sadly, he got dived at the time that I gave it to him, and lost both that bowcaster and that 6.2 bowcaster. And I'm sure that the people who killed him, I think it was Oops, I'm sure they were fucking laughing their ass off. I mean, what the hell this guy's doing with both of them? Again, I'm gonna save this picture right here, because that picture for the Life's Touch is how the only way to actually beat 2 or 3 men, the Archfiend, when it was too overpowered. I had no spec in that son of a bitch, and I was doing the Archfiend like if it was a candy, like I was actually sleeping. I would use a holy generous heal. I would use the holy beam. It'll go all the way up. I would use my E, which gives him even more heal per second, and then again I would use generous heal and back to holy beam. The guy didn't went down below 50%. It was so amazing. No wonder they got fucking nerfed. Sorry. So again, I started buying 7.2 to CMAC, that you can only use that. And for Iron, I gave him a present for being one of the guys who stood with me, a 7.2, a 6.2, and a 7.1. Again, I didn't get to record the ones that I actually give it. I did give at least 5 players big top gears to come into my random dungeon, and you can only lose it. Again, I did give it to other players that left, and I guess that's it for that. They just fucking left with my shit. I think I already showed you this picture. Skip that, and I think that's it. Is that it? Oh, here it is. That's where I bought the look from 25 mil went down to 24, and 25 point something. 25.6. So you know how much I make that difference. Is that's how much I invested on my boy Iron. So again, look, 64 relic. I think it's the same as the other one. I got a master crossbolt, so my resist bought it for 200,000. Thank you. During this time, oh, here's the guy who was trying to be cheeky. We just went ahead and killed him and took that. I took his bow and tried to sell it. However, I was retarded. Why was I retarded? Because when I went to repair it, no one told me when I came back to this game that there was a repair Elder Scroll for 40,000 silver. Guess what? I repaired it for 200,000 silver and sold it for 260,000. I'm a fucking idiot. Anyway, we took his shit, and that's the last time we got again dived. Look at these, baby. A Master Pike. 239,000, some 35,000, 71,000, 610,000 for that one, 1.1 mil for this one, and again 124,000. And during this time, I am still at T5, owning the living shit out of this guy. And Kaiten didn't go crazy in the run like me and Iron did. Me and Iron just went hard. But Kaiten didn't go as hard as we did. But look, he was already right there, ready to catch up. I was at 49.2 mil, and I reached 400. Oh no, sorry. 354 out of 400. Again, let's look for the next one. I already showed you that picture. Look at this beautiful Grandmaster Duel Store. Good money, not bad, not bad. 290,000. And that's where this actually ends. For these pictures, again, we're about to go a little bit lower because I know I got some of these one right here. After, because Iron wasn't big, he was small. But after buying me, he still didn't lose that 7.2. That's how you know we never lost. We got dived and died. I mean, look, he still had the 7.2 greater axe. After Iron went ahead and tried to play around with his gear, and he went in 8.1. Why? Because he has so much fucking money. If I had 60 mil, that son of a gun has 80 mil, and I miss him. I miss my buddy. Too bad. Money. Oh, we did as well, but I went. By the way, this is a yellow zone. I went to the yellow zone to see if there was any difference between the loots. No, that was right there. Here is the time that I went life touch. I had a life touch, and I had my greater the one that bought it. I bought this and I showed it to my friend. Look, I got master quality 6.2. Just so I can just fuck around with that Archfiend boss. And I never lost it because we never got ganked. And during this time, again, Kaiten joined our runs. He joined late, but look, we had Kaiten, CMAC, and Chaotic Dion obviously having more than anybody else in here when we started this. This was literally the first day. So on the first day, we got 3 mil. On the first days. God damn. And by the way, yes, we did win 8 hours on the first day, so shut up. And then, again, this was my spec at the end. But after the random dungeon core run, I didn't use a big gear because I didn't need to. I was 400 spec with my weapon. I didn't need to. Is there something here? Oh yeah, this one. Ah yeah, Kaiten. He got all the way up to tier 7 and he was excited. He changed from longbow to the Badon and started going. He started going into Render Dungeons T5 with a Badon 6.2. Holy crap, this guy was nuts. Oh, and he had a what's it called? He had the Panther with that, and I was like, are you fucking serious? Do you care about that? No, I ran too much money. I got too much money. There's a reason why you got too much money. Joining my runs. Again, during this time, at one point, Iron had this type of gear, and then again, he got up and became a higher geared, which I think I already showed you this picture. Now, we finished the random dungeon, and how players started doing T5 and T6 instead of T7 and T8. All thanks to all the evidence that we provided to the whole Albion Online community. Now let's talk about the nature. As you may not have heard, nature was ridiculed all the way in the expedition. You're not allowed to use nature. You're allowed to use holy staff. They were only losing for either life touch, holy touch, or greater holy staff. Anything that is nature, you would get kicked. And players actually had, if I can't find all the forum, it's way back. Because everyone's posting too much in the forum, but if you look at the forum, look for the information, you will see how much they got ridiculed. So it's saying here, I was actually explaining that, you know, I can't do 6+ map because people won't let me. I'll go in a party and they'll kick me as soon as they see a nature. That was Expedition, and that kind of mentality of the Expedition jumped over to the Hardcore Expedition. So again, there were suggestions in here about it. I made a mistake by going in there, and then after I started telling people, after I mastered it completely, the Druid, I telling people, no, it's possible. It's possible. You need a little bit more spec, but it's possible. It's very possible. You have to time your spiritual seed with the W and the sacrifice with the W. Never use it after. There is no video out there teaching you that specific thing, and I actually went ahead and put the video out there for players to actually learn. So again, we actually jump into this. Again, I almost left the what's it called? I almost left the nature and jumped into divine staff and stuff like that, or life touch, or the normal one. Said, don't do it, man. Take it out of the great nature. And this is what Reddit said. Reddit told me, because I put this in Reddit, by the way. Reddit told me that don't do it. Take out the greater nature spec, put it on holy mastery with say 25 to 50 in divine spec level, and just fame farm with your bros. And then the other person in Reddit said, get some credit and get holy to T6. Bring a 6.2 divine. I did. I bring a life touch. I bring a 6.2 master quality life touch. I'm going holy instead 0/0 and farming me some dungeon. If nature stays the same, I'll just respect before random dungeon gets nerfed or something like that. Because everyone was during this time was asking the devs, please nerf the random dungeons. It's too much. Thank God they didn't. Again, we talked a little bit more, and I decided to go, I was using a different heals, and I decided to go life touch. During this time I told them that wasn't, but I did definitely decide to go life touch. So after the holy heal got nerfed, I told Magus, it's like, you know, when the nerf comes, it's 16 seconds. The players will not have this easy holy beam. No more heals. And I told him it's going to happen. Sooner or later, someone is going to post. Boom! April 10th. The change happened. We got Revit, which was fucking sucky. And the holy went from 10 seconds to 16 seconds. Changed back to holy. Cooldown for holy beam is freaking long enough. And then I had to tell him what. Again, all credit to Darth Magus. However, Darth Magus just told me that I had to use Tome. But I told Darth Magus it's better to use Horn. Darth Magus said the best thing is to go Life Touch. But then I told Darth Magus I think it's just better to go Horn and Life Touch. Because the seconds on it, on my spec, shows that the Holy Beam is actually 11 seconds instead of 16 seconds. And before it was 10 seconds. Obviously, back before the pre-nerf patch, the Holy was actually even less seconds than that, probably 6 or 7. So I show little Daisy, I think a picture somewhere around here. Let me go down here. I show little Daisy that you can just use this build for Life Touch and Horn, and it won't kill your heals. All you have to do is Q W E W E Q Q W E Q Q W E Q Q. That's all they had to do, and I did a test for them so they could see it. That during the time that I did the first one, so I do W, see the cooldown? I still doing W. Then I do E, and then I did a Q. Wait, is it like that? W. Yeah, W E Q, and by the time that everything is done, you'll get your W. Then you go back to Q. And then Q, and then you go back to E, then W, Q, and then I think it's WQ? It's too confusing. Anyway, I showed it in there. I just didn't make a video for it. And then what is this one? Oh yeah, it is already done. We don't need this fucking crap. Anyway, and that is the history of the nature and the history of the nature and Random Dungeon that you never knew. I guess that's it. It was a fun story, I guess. I hope it didn't bore you too much, but yeah, back then, Random Dungeons, T7, T8 was the only thing that was getting promoted. If you were T5 or T6, you would get ridiculed. And if you were nature, you would get ridiculed. That has all changed in the present time. Thank you for watching.